Good morning. It is March 29th. It is 8 a.m. Eastern Time in the year 2021. This is the Hive Engine weekly developer meeting. This is the voice of Aggroed. It's slightly different. I've moved yet again, so if you're hearing a little reverb, it's just I got a big office. So I have a couple things to note. One from Don Chait, one from Eon, one from another developer. So I want to go start with those. I asked them for a quick update. Don is saying since Diesel Pool Rewards contract update was deployed, have been working on the DTF. That's the Decentralized Token Fund. It works like the Hive Fund, but it's per token. The first review had simple issues have been addressed. The design is clear and concise. The pull request is still open as he's working to refactor a few things for better long-term efficiency to do with storing completed approvals and proposals. Those updates should come in the next day or two for final review. The docs are in the wiki for anyone interested in seeing the structure and feature, which are solid now. Next up would be a small update to the fixed distribution contract to make it compatible with the DTF and allow it to distribute payouts from a DTF proposal. So right now, the DTF is you could put in a proposal and pay an account. He's updating it so you could put in a proposal to pay a contract to pay out multiple accounts, which is freaking awesome. It's like having the DHF, but a lot more functional. And also a lot more tailored because each different community can get their own. Eon's been working on SMTs, so those are smart media tokens. And, we have SMT-like capability through Scottbot now, but it's the centralized server that we manage. And that is less fun and less cool than having it be living on Hive Engine itself and distributed through Hive Engine. So SMT is in review, which means that it's done. There's no further updates yet. Need to discuss how we want to handle storage for posts that are paid out. Do we maybe we delete on payout, and possibly how the core node should index them, allow all the comment ops to feed into comments contract, or current way of explicitly specifying in JSON metadata SSC field. So that's the Steam smart contract. That's like the platform field. So those are two updates. The third update is that I think the auction has been submitted. I don't know if that's been reviewed, but hopefully our auction contract will get updated shortly. So those are three different smart contract pieces that are all coming together in the now moments. So big picture goals here continue to be, making this the most efficient freaking smart contract platform out there. We want it so that there's off-the-shelf smart contracts that people can use. We want it so that it's really easy to build your business. This stuff is going to cost some money though. People keep telling me, hey, you should make this stuff free. And free doesn't pay for developers. Free doesn't pay for development. Free doesn't allow that to happen. So my goal is to keep it affordable. If you would like to go build your own NFT website and you think you can do that for under $2,000, be my guest. That would be extraordinary. But for everybody else on the planet that recognizes, holy shit, what an amazing deal that is, then you're going to want to work with Hive Engine because basically you're going to get your own version of OpenSea. But it won't be somebody else's, it'll be yours, and it'll be powered with a blog, and it'll have a token, and you can put that token with its own liquidity pool, and you can reward people for providing liquidity rewards for your token to host your own NFT platform. I mean, what we're already putting together is groundbreaking. And sort of once we get all these pieces put together, the next step is to make it really easy for people to sign up. Because right now it's pretty tricky. It's pretty tricky to get on board and get this stuff moving. I recognize that. I want to make it easier, but that takes a bunch of steps and we're not quite there yet. But we have all this development happening and it's really wonderful. It's really powerful. And not only that, now we're going to go build bridges. We're going to build bridges to not just our ecosystem, but we're going to go out to other people's ecosystems. This is sort of like we are helping you export your tokens. So Cryptomancer is really leading that charge. Mancer, do you want to go tell us some about where we are with the BSC integration, with the Ethereum, ERC20s, automation, and all of that, so that Hive Engine can be interoperable with some of the most highly capitalized chains out there.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll start with that. Um, so I've actually been splitting my attention between the Ethereum bridge and some contract reviews and release management stuff. So let's talk about the Ethereum bridge first. So some further progress was made on that over the past week. Um, I finished modifying the gateway so that it can issue its own tokens whenever it needs to. So whenever its balance runs low, if it doesn't have enough to handle an incoming deposit, it'll just issue some more. And now that that feature is done, we can roll out some additional ERC20s.
Hold
So
on.
I did that over the weekend.
Do you want? Can you
Yeah,
talk a little bit about the ethics of that? Why? How is that not us printing new tokens? Because I'm sure somebody's going to ask me that. So why are we issuing the token? What does that? What does it look like? Why does that exist? What is that for?
sure. So we're not magically printing new money out of thin air because all of these tokens have to be backed one to one with the equivalent asset from the other blockchain, in this case, Ethereum. So if someone sends us, say, some BAT tokens, well, then we have to make sure that the number of tokens we've issued on the Hive Engine is exactly the same as the number of BAT tokens that we've received. So we can't just print a million of them because we obviously don't have a million BAT that people could withdraw. It has to match the actual underlying assets. So when I say the gateway is allowed to issue new tokens, that means that we don't just print, say, like the entire token supply all at once and have it sitting there on the gateway. What we do is we issue tokens on demand when deposits come in. So we start with, say, a token balance of 0 on the gateway, and then if we get 20 of a particular ERC20 token deposited, then the gateway will issue 20 tokens on the Hive Engine side to match that. So that's a lot better than printing all the tokens beforehand. Because if we printed them beforehand, then we'd have to monitor the balances on the gateway and make sure to manually replenish them when they run low and things like that. And this way, the gateway can take care of that whole thing automatically. So it will just automatically keep the number of tokens on the Hive Engine side matching the number of tokens we actually receive as deposits.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted it to be clear that this is not about us just randomly printing tokens and saying we have more in our balance. The whole thing is just how we make it how we handle the accounting for these things. And that wasn't entirely clear from what you first said. Hopefully, it's clear to people now. It's all about making sure that for every ERC20 token that we hold as a custodian, there's exactly one token on Hive Engine that represents it.
Yep, exactly. So over the weekend, I got some additional ERC20s rolled out. So we now have deposits and withdrawals enabled for DAI, USDT, Uni, and Link. And that's pretty big because that brings the first stablecoin offerings to Hive Engine with DAI and USDT. So I think people will be pretty happy about that.
Now, don't forget
And
about HBD, which isn't super stable, but it is
oh yes,
that
it's
does sort of exist.
a soft peg, you could say. Yes, indeed. So the overall project status, here's my little weekly checklist here. So this is where we're at. I'm continuing to work on the automatic addition of ERC20s. So when I added those ERC20s over the weekend, I had to set all the config up for everything manually. But what we're aiming for is to allow people to do that themselves for a fee. So you can bring your favorite ERC20s onto the platform without waiting for us to get around to doing it. So that's still got several steps left that need to be taken care of for that. So that work is ongoing. I'll be continuing that this week. Um, and then we had our first tech support issue for the gateway today, which I resolved. But looking into that issue made me realize that volume on the gateway is slowly starting to increase now that we've got some various tokens out and people are starting to become aware of it and all that. So as volume increases, tech support issues are also going to increase. And right now, it's quite tedious to do tech support for this thing because I have to go in and muck around with the internals of the system and make sure it does all the proper accounting and whatnot. So you see, I have a task on this list here, Discord bot for tech support. So that's going to start becoming increasingly important over the coming weeks to get that done. So we have an easy way for our tech support people to resolve issues. So I'll probably look at that after I finish the automatic addition of ERC20s for a fee. I want to get that ongoing work, that in progress work taken care of, and then go back and handle the tech support stuff. And after all of that is done, then we can be in a position to start looking at Binance Smart Chain, which I expect will be a matter of copying the gateway code and then adjusting things so that it's talking to Binance Smart Chain rather than Ethereum. But it'll still use a very similar set of APIs and whatnot. So hopefully that'll be mostly a matter of adjusting the config. So we build out the gateway and then we clone it and we adjust the config to point to Binance Smart Chain. So that's where we're at with that.
So, do you have a thought, like if you were left alone and could just focus on the Discord bot, the on-the-fly reloading, automatic creation of HE tokens, and the gateway command to add an E token, like left alone to your own devices, how much coding time do you think still exists here?
If I had 100% of my efforts devoted to that, probably like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Okay. Okay, so maybe by the end of April, we'll have all this done. Maybe.
Yep, I think that sounds fairly realistic because my time is going to be continuing to be split between code reviews and release prep and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's actually the second thing that I wanted to talk about here.
Perfect.
So the gateway is one side of the work that I've been doing. The other thing is, well, for people who are listening and are not really aware of it, I manage all the smart contract releases for Hive Engine. And part of that process is doing code reviews. So the way our development process for smart contracts work is first a developer gets assigned to create a new contract, and the developer writes the code for it, and then writes unit test cases, which are designed to make sure the code actually works. So the unit tests run in kind of a sandboxed development environment that's like a little mini copy of the Hive Engine sidechain, so the developer can be sure the smart contract does what it's supposed to. And once those tests are finished and the developer is confident that the whole thing is actually working, he creates a pull request to get the code for the contract merged into our official GitHub repository and submits that pull request for a code review. And a code review is our quality control process. So that's where another experienced smart contract developer takes a look at the code and just goes over it with a fine-tooth comb and says, well, yeah, I think this makes sense, or no, you've got a little logic flaw here, or this thing is not going to perform very well, you need to make it more efficient. So they just go through the code and come up with a bunch of feedback for the original developer. And then the original developer takes that feedback and makes some adjustments. And it can kind of go back and forth a few times, like between code review, fixing things, code review again, fixing a few more things. It can go back and forth. And then once the code review is finally approved, then I schedule it for actual deployment into production and we get it released. So that's the process that I've been going through over the last week with Don Chait's DTF contract. So there's been a couple rounds of revisions on it. I've been handling the code reviews for him. So as Aggroed mentioned, that should be finished up soon, and I'll do one final review on it before it's ready to push it out. But the release for that is going to be somewhat complicated. It's not going to be a straightforward smart contract deployment like these things typically are. And the reason for that is that the DTF requires some modifications to the core node software in order to perform some actions on every single block that gets processed. And the auction contract is the same way. So both the auction contract and the DTF require node software changes. and that means that they affect the witness consensus. So we can't do those deployments without first getting the witnesses on board and doing node upgrades for all the witnesses. So what we need to do is kind of after I've approved the contracts myself, we need to have a witness review period. So I'm thinking maybe we give it a week or so where we show the witnesses, okay, this is the work that's been done. You guys are free to take a look at it and see what your thoughts are on it. And then after they've had time to review it, then we do the code merge and we prepare a new release of the node software and we schedule a time by which all the witnesses have to upgrade their nodes. So I'd say working through that whole process will be a kind of a couple weeks cycle. And there's also some additional changes that Eon Warped is preparing for improving the efficiency of the way the node processes database indexes. And so we're thinking of folding all three of these things together into one core node release so that we just have to go through this process one time with the witnesses rather than multiple times. So we'll have three PRs there, the auction contract, the DTF contract, and Eon Warp's index changes. So once all of those are reviewed, then we'll have the witnesses take a look and we'll go from there.
The only other one that is on my brain is potentially doing the increasing the number of witnesses too. So from 10 plus 1 to 20 plus 1, just like Hive.
Okay, yeah, that would be a great thing to get in there as well. So maybe we can talk to Ian Warped about that and get his thoughts on it.
Yeah, because I think it's been the intention. I got some pushback of like, hey, Hive is only 10 cents, so if you then double the number of people that are doing the rewards or getting rewards, you'll have it, and there's not enough money to do this. But with Hive at 70 odd cents, and B being mostly pegged to Hive, there's now plenty of wiggle room for that. Because even if we double it, you're still more than double the amount of money that you would have been making otherwise. So. But hopefully that concern isn't really there anymore, and we can go schedule more witness boxes to be in rotation, because that just helps this whole network be more secure. So I'd like to have, we were running into little problems where the date change thing kicked a bunch of witnesses off. It stalled the chain for, I don't know, minutes. So just having more eyes, more people, and more devs helping to run this, I think will be quite powerful and good for us. So, so when we get to the proposal, or when you're ready, we'll put out a post and I'll link it to all the witnesses, and I don't know. Hopefully they'll upgrade their node software to run the current version of the chain.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. I think with the Hive price up, this is a good opportunity to do that. So perhaps we can get that change into this same release as well.
When do you think that the release will be ready?
Well, I still have to review Eon Warp's changes, and then I'll have to do the final review for the DTF sometime this week. So I'm guessing if those reviews go well, then probably by the end of the week we'll be ready to put something in front of the witnesses, and that would probably also give Eon Warped time to get the change done for the number of witnesses. I don't expect that will be a big change for him to make.
Yeah, I think it's just a number. So.
Yep, yeah, it should be easy.
Okay. Well, that's all exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to having a more robust Hive Engine ecosystem. I'm looking forward to having decentralized token funds and an auction. The NFT showroom people are just besides themselves waiting for this auction. So I'm glad. Is the code review for that done? That's good to go?
Yes, Ian Warp handled the code review for that, and he has approved it. So
Sweet.
that's just sitting there waiting for the other PRs to also be ready.
Okay. Does anybody have a suggestion on any other contracts that we really ought to make high priorities for this thing?
I can't think of anything offhand at the moment.
Okay. Manser, can you DM me the bot controller and market maker contract? The guy that did the auction contract. I want him to go put together another. I want him to put together my fishing market maker approach.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll send you links to those.
Thank you. Okay. I guess Riaz, why don't you tell us about what you're working on front end development and where Tribal Dex is at and what you've been working on and what's up next?
Hi everyone, good morning. Last week I have been working on three different projects. First one was NFT Tunes, which is ready for deployment, pending a few tweaks here and there. And next I have also managed to make the interface for the reward system of the diesel pools that is also live on Tribal Dex. And right now I am working on the NFT showroom changes. They have requested a huge list of changes. I am working through one by one. So probably this week we will also be working on the NFT showroom changes. And as the auction contract gets got delayed, so probably should move to the Tribe 2.0 after that. And when the auction contract will be deployed, maybe come back to the NFT showroom and make the interface for it.
So one thing I noticed about the rewards, I don't know if this is about the smart contract or the front end, but like let's say I had Hive and I wanted to go reward Hive, and I guess in this case it's swap.hive. I didn't see a way for me to go reward people with swap.hive to go contribute to the pools. Is that because the front end doesn't allow it, or because I can't use a token that I didn't issue myself to reward any of the pools?
Yeah, I think you have to be the owner of the token to issue it through the mining contract.
Manser, can you confirm that?
Yes, I believe that's the case. So, like, if you logged on with the account that owns swap.hive, what is it? Is that Hive Engine? Or I forget exactly which one, but if you log in with that one, you should be able to do it.
No, I think it's null.
Is it?
Well, I gotta go look back, but
Actually, I think the smart contract would allow the smart contract owner to do it as well, not just the token issuer. So the Hive Engine account could probably do it.
okay, but even still, I think one of the things I'll have to go get Dawn to do is make it a little bit more flexible so that, if my token isn't worth anything yet and I want to award people for staking it, just giving them my own token might not be much of an incentive. But if I could go say, hey, look, if you guys buy and stake this and I'll give you Hive or Bitcoin or Litecoin or something else, if I can create a pool that isn't just my token, those would be good rewards too. So that's something that, all right, now I understand that it's not just on the front end, that's on the back end. So that's something that once Don's done with the DTF, I'll get back with him and say, hey, can we make this a little bit more flexible so that anybody could put whatever token they want into the pool to distribute out to the people that are staking it.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That sounds like a good adjustment.
NFT Tunes. So the guy that's building that, we're supporting him, but he has a Grammy-winning artist, a new, very up-and-coming country singer, a rapper, and then like 5 other groups that are like in line to go start on this. So that's not just going to start with a bunch of Hivians, that just strum guitar for themselves. This is starting with like Grammy award-winning musicians and professional musicians. So I'm pretty excited about that. NFT showroom, yeah, they have a lot of requests. The auction, when the auction hits, I know that's like one of the things that they've been bugging me about for a couple months. So we got to go make that a high priority. That how we can enable the auction contract to function on NFT showroom will be a big deal, and getting into Tribes 2.0 is pretty critical. Getting blogging built in with Tribal Dex so that we can, have tribes have blogging and NFTs all through the same website, I think will be one of the most powerful tools created for Web 3.0. So I'm excited to get some changes for NFT Showroom out there and then do that. And once the blogging piece is done, then I think we have to go create another website that's really just about creating tribes. Making a tribe is like a 6-step process. And so you can't just say, make a tribe. And it needs a lot more hand holding for what do these buttons do? And it needs answers and questions that are not just so dev specific, but it needs to be like, do you want high inflation or low inflation? And then put some numbers in a range for that so that people have a sense of what does it mean to have high inflation or low inflation? It needs some like general white paper guidance of like, you have to start with your initial distribution. Then you figure out your ongoing distribution. What buckets would you like in your initial distribution? And so it needs to ask some questions and give some kind of like common buckets that you might want to provide for users. So Riaz, I think your roadmap sounds correct. Let's knock out some NFT showroom changes. It sounds like auction is going to be delayed a bit, so let's go get some blogging changes. And then once the blogging is live, we can start forking the site. And when you're not forking the site, then hopefully we can go through and when you're not forking the site, we can go through and figure out a tribe onboarding thing. It also reminds me that one of the things, somebody was saying, hey, look, I'm not going to go work with Aggroed or Hive Engine because they're charging money. And this stuff should all be free. And I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. But it does make me think, there are probably a couple good projects that are out there that would form if they could get it for free. So I don't think I'm going to make it free, but one of the things that I'm considering doing is having some kind of competition. So when Hive 2.0 or when Tribes 2.0 launches, I think that we're gonna go give away some B, and that B would be, or I'd reimburse B for people that are making tribes. So it would be some sort of contest. Maybe one tribe per month would be eligible to be created for free, and it would be one of the first Tribe 2.0 websites. So I'm thinking about having a contest. Maybe that's something that's ongoing of like every month we could give away one. All right, so let's go. Lion's saying he needs to check in, so let's go to Lion. What's up with you, Lion? What's your work?
Hey guys. So just like what Crypto Manson mentioned, as people start using stuff, we also need to provide support. That also is in DSwap the case. So I was busy with some DSwap things last week, which slowed me down with my integration of the ERC20s in the Classic website. But that's still ongoing, and I hope to have the code ready within a couple of days to integrate ERC20s to the Classic website. And I was able to resolve some issues on the DSwap. So I'm glad people are using it and they take the time to raise questions. And if something is stuck there, they just shout out, and we take care of the issues. So if it gets more traction, hopefully we will get a better product out. So I'm also thinking about moving some of the front-end pieces to DSwap backend. So the thought process is there, but I just need time to finish first the ERC20 integration and then move on with the work I'm doing already on DSwap.
Okay, and just please keep in mind that and this is less for you and more for the audience, that the final stage of this is getting to DPay, where a user maybe on NFT Showroom comes in and says, I want to purchase that NFT. They don't own any swap.hive, and maybe it's even in a tribal token, and so they're like, I don't own any of that. What do I do? I don't want to, I just want to buy art. I don't want to have to learn Hive Engine, get all this crap done. Just give me my damn piece of art that I want. And so as long as they have a Hive Engine or a Hive account, they should be able to hit pay with DPay. and then they'll deposit Bitcoin. Bitcoin gets deposited, it turns into swap that Bitcoin, it goes onto the market, it'll be exchanged for swap.hive. Maybe it goes into some tribe token on a tribe 2.0 site, so it goes to tribe, tribe fund, and then it would pay with tribe fund, and then it would issue the NFT back to the user. And so that's the end goal of all of this, is to be able to have a payment processing system where you can put in any freaking token you want, and the it'll go through and convert it to the right token to spend. That sound good to you too, Lion?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the end goal I'm aware of.
Rock on. All right, let's go. We kind of skipped over Riaz just a little bit. Riaz, did you have any other questions, or do you have any other thoughts that you want to share?
No, I'm good.
Is NFT Tunes live? Because I thought that Baltai actually pointed to the server. So is that good to go, or will that be live today? Where's that? When can I go to the website?
No, that's not live yet. Hopefully, that will be live tomorrow morning. I need to set up the servers and set up the accounts and do some other website related works to make it work on the specified domains, as I was not aware of the domain name, and that was not set up when I actually was working on that. So I have to do some work and then we'll make it live tomorrow morning.
Okay. One of the other pieces that the MP4, trying to get a whole song in MP4 can be gigantic. So we might have to support MP3 as well. So you would have like a thumbnail image and then an MP3 that would actually play. So I think you should plan on that being something that we have to do.
Yeah, I already did something similar to that for the NFT showroom. They are actually asking for it as well. So might need to copy the codes to NFT tunes when I'm done with the NFT showroom.
All right, that sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, Bait, you want to tell us what you're working on?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So, for close to 6 days now, Hive Engine Mobile has been in review and it just went live this morning.
Hey,
So,
that's fantastic. Congratulations.
yeah, it's really amazing. So it went live this morning. It actually stayed for a very long time in review, but went live. There were no complaints, so that's live. So people can begin testing them with them. I think everything should work fine. We just have to have feedback in terms of performance, if it is fast enough, and also with future release, I have to cut down the size of the file because currently it's at 52 megabytes. Then also do some additional UI cleanup. But that's by the way. So I've shifted my focus to them DeFi doll, and one of the things I actually have a lot of questions, and some questions which Riaz and Crypto Minister were able to help me with, and but I like to talk about my plans and how I intend to handle certain things because the last time we spoke, you said each pack is going to have 5 NFTs, right?
Right. So the goal is that I'll purchase a pack, and in that pack there'll be 5 cards, and those 5 cards will be a random assortment of either doll parts or clothing items that the doll would wear, and each different type should be something that I can equip. And so there should be a category called dresses, and there might be 20 different options for dresses, and I can only equip one of them. Or shoes. There should be 20 different shoes, and if I own one, I should be able to equip that.
Okay, okay. So, but what I actually thought initially was that the five cards in the pack is going to be already randomly selected pairs from the images we have. So when we have randomly selected object from the images, so when a user, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if we Riaz is right. So if we do it that way, that means we have to be able to sort out the different capabilities of each equipment, or everything is going to have the same power. Okay, let's say like a doll has maybe a hat, a shirt, and a pant. So if all of them actually have the same hash power, that means the more equipment a doll has, the more power that individual doll is going to have. So if a doll has just a shirt and a pant, it is not going to be as powerful as the one with a shirt, a pant, and a hat. Then eventually, if the user gets more pack, you can actually combine, let's say, 3, 4 hats together to get even a more powerful hat. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and not only that, but there should be different rarities of hat. There's going to be like, your standard just blue ball cap, right? And it has nothing on it, and it's boring, and that power is like point 0.1. And then you could have something like some Hindu goddess hat with some like spiraling thing that's 10 feet wide. And that thing would be some legendary hat that would give you like 10,000 hash power. So, and then combining it, maybe you get, the more that you combine, you get like 1.1 increase every time that you do it. So if you take two of those, it's not just 2 million, it would be 2.2 million because you've combined two. I don't know the exact math yet, but these are all things that there's a NFT influenced mining contract. We have to make some minor adjustments, or maybe they're major adjustments to that in order for the whole DeFi Dolly project to work. But it's the hash power for these should live in that mining contract.
Okay, so that means we have to get that ready even before we can talk about, getting this whole thing live.
All right. Well, if that's the next step, then okay. I still think that we can get the visual up and running, right? Like I want to make it so that if I own the NFT, I can see it, and I can, maybe there's like a play test site where when I get different pieces of equipment, I can equip them and I could see what my power would be and how I could adjust my power, how I could have more than one doll. Like some of the basics of the site should be functional.
That's currently in the pipeline, and I actually do have something on that currently, but eventually we'll have to,
Okay.
get all of those sorted. So, and then one other thing, I think I'm going to be needing Kena to get me icon of each image. I think that's going to be useful because the way the images work now is such that it's actually an entire, like everything is of the same dimension. Like the nose, the mouth, everything is of the same dimension. So in order for me to be able to actually deal with this smaller part of the images where you get to select each item, I have to have smaller icons representing each image, and that's going to be a way smaller file compared to the bigger one that is meant for the actual doll. Like I'm trying to fetch an example. For instance, if I draw a leap, for instance, which is what I have here, and I paste it, it's actually a very large image, and it might be extra work from my side. That's what it looks like. That's a leap. So it's actually an entire image. So I need an icon of it, of each one of the images.
Is that you just want her to cut and paste the piece of it?
Yes, just the part I need for the icons, just the leap. So a user gets to see, because it's hard to actually see what is inside the image as with this dimension.
Okay, you need to tell me what size image you want, or actually, you don't need to tell me. We have to tell Kane it.
Okay.
And so you say all items they're all going to be squares. So
Not all of them. I'm talking about, I need icon assets. The files she sent initially actually okay the way they are, because it doesn't demand for extra CSS styling. You just have to stack them on top of each other. So you don't have to really position anything specially. It works very well for that purpose. But in terms of getting smaller icons, I think I'm actually going to need an icon representing each one of those assets.
All right. Well, when an icon could be lots of different things, so you're gonna have to give her some size requirements of
And that's
presumably.
about, if I can get a 200 pixel by 200 pixel, I think that's fine. Or 150 pixel by 150 pixel. It just has to be in a square dimension.
Well, just pick one and say that, and ask her for that.
Okay.
Okay, so for the NFT influenced mining contract, is that? I think we're going to need changes to it because right now I don't think there's anything that would restrict us from being able to, like in the NFT mining contract, I think I could have like 3 shoes and I could equip 3 shoes. And there's nothing that would stop me from being able to only equip one of each type. So I think that contract is going to need a little bit of work. So when Don is done doing the DTF, maybe I'll have him do this. Or since Eon wrote it, maybe I'll ask Eon to do it once he's done with the SMT contract. But this is my next step, is getting the NFT influenced mining contract to be able to have different unique categories of which you can only specify, one pair of gloves, one hat, one chest piece, one leg piece, one pair of shoes, maybe one set of earrings, a nose, a mouth, and eyes, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that works, but it's all boils down to the contract because the plan is to make each one of those images, each one of the parts of the doll, smaller NFTs. Then at the point of equipping the NFT, they get burnt and the doll itself becomes a big NFT with all of those parts on the body. So that's the plan.
Yeah. So if we make it so that you can burn 2 pairs of hats to make a slightly more powerful hat, are you able to do that on your own, or do you need any kind of smart contract work to make that happen?
Yeah, I think that's just combining NFTs. I think with the look of things, what we currently have should be able to handle that. And that might not be a priority for this very first release. The first release is just to be able to, get an eye, put the eye on the doll's body, put the hat on the doll's body, put the pant on the doll's body, and the process of staking will actually mean burning those smaller NFTs to create one big one, which is the doll itself with those components on its body.
Manser, can you foresee any problems with us trying to do pack manager to go open up all the packs to get all the NFTs, and then the NFT influenced mining contract to go set up how they're going to earn the tokens?
Not really. I was having a discussion with Bait earlier today about the pack manager and his plans for incorporating that into DeFi Dolly. And it sounds like what he's planning to do, just taking individual NFT instances that represent the various parts of the doll, and then burning those to create the final NFT with data properties being set accordingly. Sounds like a good strategy. It should work. So all the things about combining the parts, making the final NFT, that's all application-specific logic. Rather than something built into the smart contracts. It's using the smart contracts in the desired way, rather. So I don't anticipate any difficulties with that.
Okay. So when Dawn or Eon are done, I will task them with helping us with the NFT influenced mining contract, and hopefully we can get that done. So that's exciting. You can have a power property for the NFTs, which is editable. When someone buys same types of the NFT, you can increase the power of the NFT with the lowest ID. So that works as combining. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Just a custom property as against the default ones. And then one other thing is there any plan for after staking the smaller part on the doll's body? Is there a plan to revert it later? I'm not quite sure if that's possible by the logic of the smart contract.
Yeah, it should be. So I don't want it so that when you equip a shirt, the shirt is permanently attached. So you should be able to stake it, and you should be able to unstake the shirt. That's not true if you combine NFTs. If I combine two blue shirts to make a more powerful blue shirt, then that should not be reversible.
Okay, that means there might be a problem with the plan that I have, which I discussed with Riaz and Cryptomensa, in the sense that when I have a hat and equip the avatar with the hat gets burnt. And I don't know if Cryptomensa actually, maybe if there's a way to, get the hat back after it is burnt. Okay. Okay, instead of burning, we can make use of transfer. Is that what you're saying, Cryptomensa?
Yeah, so if you need to take the doll apart and get back the original NFTs for the pieces, then instead of burning the pieces, you could have them transferred to some game contract that would hold them like a custodianship sort of thing and just kind of lock them up in that game account. And then if the doll gets broken apart again, then you could retrieve the tokens from that game account later on.
So what I think we did in the mining contract with like Farm Farmer and Mythical is that you stake them to the game account. So you like delegate them to the game account. That's your version of staking rather than burning. And then you can
something like that would work too.
And then you can unstake them.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need some way to be able to get them back again. So you need to basically lock them up and then have them be unlocked somehow.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay. So, all right. Anything else in general that we need to talk about on the recorded call?
Not on the recorded call. I got some extra stuff to talk about later, though.
Okay. Nothing from my side. All right. Why don't we call this a moment for now? There's 10 minutes left, so we'll take that for anything that's private for Hive Engine. Anyways, thanks for listening to this call. You can see that there's tons of development going on, and it's awesome and progressing. And I'm looking forward to delivering as much utility from this tool as humanly possible. So thanks everybody. We'll get some notice out about the mobile app, and hopefully I'll get a little bit of work done that I have to do to go make it so we can release the iOS version here soon too. And you guys will be doing Hive Engine mobilely. It's good times. Thanks guys. Bye.